this authority, we're going to have intelligent, Papua New Guinean intelligent, Papua New Guinean patriots, Papua New Guinea at heart, in there, working in there. I take full comment of views by the member for Abau, who constitutes that board. And I take full note of what the governor for the Southern Islands is saying, that we must make sure that that board that we're going to establish by virtue of this authority is the board, Mr. Assistant Speaker, will protect our interest, and that must be paramount. And make sure that our professional people are in there, and people who have country at heart working in there, so that they'll make sure any applications coming in from foreigners coming into the board to be approved must be adequately and intelligently checked, Mr. Assistant Speaker, so that our interest is protected. And I want to see, Mr. Assistant Speaker, that we make sure that, first of all, unfortunately, consecutive budget I have read, we have passed through this Parliament, consecutive budget, he is not supporting the Papua New Guinean for exploration, Papua New Guinean company for exploration, be it in oil and gas or in minerals. We're supposed to support Papua New Guineans, with due respect to many Papua New Guinean businessmen and women. They don't have the hard cash, but they have the qualification through universities we've got and universities overseas. And for many Papua New Guinean geologists, many Papua New Guinean and therefore, if these people know the technique to do the exploration and to harvest the exploration, the government should support. Unfortunately, particularly in the exploration field, in the part in the exploration, we're not supporting enough, and we should. And if we do that, surely exploration are done by our people, and the know-how, they're in a position to do it. We back them up. They should process oil and gas in this country. And we should have a bank of oil and gas like Thailand, Rice Bank, we're going to look in, and Indonesia. We should have a bank, and we should control it. Why should we pay the high prices of oil and gas around here in this country? Hey, it's going up. Papua New Guinea with the Kenya devaluation, all of those things happening, the price rise, we eat our country tough. Many Papua New Guineans, all no millionaire, all no billionaire. And we are killing our people. And the last remaining resources like oil and gas we're talking about, these are fossil energy, unrenewable, Mr. Assistant Speaker, we've got to be very careful. And Mr. Speaker, I hope that this authority will take heed of this thing to make sure that our country's interest is protected. Oil and gas, and also in the mineral sector. And Mr. Minister, I fully support you. Of course, we're going to make a mistakes here and there, but as long as we have the country's intention right in our mind, in our heart, we will make no mistakes there. And I don't want to, in the future, I hope that this authority will make sure the license is given to a company who agrees to make sure process the oil and gas in this country to a final product, Mr. Assistant Speaker, to a final product. Not take the crude, process it in a crude form, take it away to another country and process it in a final product, add value and sell it to a country, a struggling country, Mr. Acting Speaker. And therefore, I hope that this authority will see to it that we give the license to people who got this country at heart, whether foreign country or whether the Papua New Guinean, foreign company or company, Papua New Guinean company, they must have heart for this country. When we do that, Mr. we will get the best and more from the oil and gas or petroleum product. We can produce many things out of that petroleum, many things. You can even produce your clothes. Why not? If you put it in the final draft, the jackets that you are wearing, and the necktie you are wearing, All of those are coming from the product, byproduct of oil and gas. Don't think that, or other things, or the trees or whatever is producing your clothes. Byproducts, what you're wearing now, bucket, whatever, plastic spoon, all of those things are coming from oil and gas, oil. And I hope that by virtue of establishment of this authority, we'll get serious on it, and we get the best outcome, more money for Papua New Guinea, because this is the unrenewable resources. If people don't play it right, now we can send everything away, like Ghana. Ghana had oil and gas, the mining. Everything went away, but they invest in education. They invest in education. That is why more Ghanaians are professors all over the world. Jimmy, you can sound on Professor Akilampa Soya. He's a Ghana, no oil and gas, but an academic, international law recognized by the world. So if we be careful and make sure that our resources, limited resources, unrenewable resources, are exploited, properly refined, value-added in our country, this country can earn more, and we can become rich, and our country, our future, in a safe hands. And Mrs. Assistant Speaker, I support the Minister. Eventually I support the Minister. We should have this bill passed through without any difficulty. And of course, any other errors or some errors which the member for our Abao has said, if it is true, we can have it changes. But if it's not true, then let's get them passed through. And we're in the business of setting the authority and move on and protect our resources in the best possible way. Thank you. Prime Minister.
Assistant Speaker, Pastor Ntro, I'd like to thank you, Lord, you yet. All members of Parliament, including all leaders, staff along opposite. You may sit down, you go pass through lunchtime, but you may sit down yet, making walk, long passing all love, long country me. In a long time, go finish, you may give him grievance debate. Long number 2 Prime Minister of our country, me, one of those founding fathers of our country. These great leaders in the 68 to 72 Parliament and right through 72 to 77, they worked tirelessly to construct most of the laws that carry our country at present. And I want to appreciate the leaders in this Parliament right now. You're sitting right through long hours and to give respect to Parliament's primary role, and that is to discuss laws and process laws and to pass good laws if majority does agree. And so I want to appreciate all of you. And also in this juncture, pay my commendations to the Petroleum Minister for his great enthusiasm. When he came on board as Petroleum Minister, he moved many miles in short space of time in what I would have wanted other petroleum ministers before him to have done. We came into office in 2019 with a clear agenda. Take back PNG. Agenda was simply trying best, where possible, to account for all our resources and earn just due in as far as owners of the resources are concerned. Without hurting our investors, they need to make a return on the investment. There's a place for them to earn fairly and equitably, especially in the deductible earnings from their expense accrued in exploration and production or development and production of these resources that are earned. Mind you, petroleum sector right now stands at 50% of our country's GDP. One sector alone, 50% of our country's GDP. This sector, unfortunately, we have shifted to be reliant on this sector in a big way, and I want to give assurance to all members of the House and industry, stakeholders in our country. This setup of the authority is not only timely because we are now 50 years on, and as a country known for hydrocarbon extraction, we need to move into this space. Structures that carry us, that doesn't go well in as far as resource accountability is concerned, must be relooked at. And so we felt that this one, and I want to assure this House, there will be no duplication of function. We're not creating a new organization. The current structure we have in the Department of Petroleum will be renamed, and there's a subsequent amendment coming after this bill is passed, hopefully, that will now amend the Oil and Gas Act. So it replaces the Department of Petroleum and upgrades it into a petroleum authority. And in this, there will be not much need for new staff brought in, but through the normal advertisement processes, the current positions we have will be now migrated into the new authority. We also know the sister agency in mining has Department of Mining and the Mineral Resource Authority. We're looking into marrying these two and to ensure that we remove impediments in between many of these agencies of state that could clog efficiency of work. And so those are work that we are also picking in the face of our country's 50th anniversary coming up. What unnecessary laws that we can amend to make sure we remove impediments and get the ease of work happening at the earliest. So Department of Petroleum will be subsumed into the structure that we're setting up here to enhance regulation, to enhance oversight, the presence of industry on the board. Board members are 7 in this board, 7 members in the board. Industry, if you look at Section 7 of this proposed law, says 7 members, only 1 is an industry rep. The rationale of having industry rep in this is industry important stakeholder. Important stakeholder, they need to understand the rationale of decision making at the board level. This also places a board in between minister, cabinet, and the regulator. Right now, most of the regulations power is in the hand of one man. In the hand of one man, and that is Secretary of the Department of Petroleum. And so in this board, it allows for general oversight. The industry also, the one rep sits in and with the board making critical decisions, so they clearly understand the steps government is taking. We have many instances where industry is on the outside. They sometimes complain that we are doing things without their knowledge. And their presence on board is just one, the voting power is one, and if it is substantial, I am sure a mature board would make considered decisions in a meeting of the board members. So I want to ask all members of Parliament, this is timely, this allows for greater transparency, it anchors power in the hands of the authority. This is a first step in a move towards having a regime that is a hybrid in my view, that is not detached from investors making a return on investment, but allows PNC to have a greater benefit in resources. And Minister has been tasked, and subsequent amendments are coming in as far as especially the regime that will govern the administration of our benefit setting. And this board will now, if set up by this Parliament, will now have the ability to go out and work in this space and set out a new benefit setting arrangement, in my view, that will entrench our placement as resource owners, but at the same time giving recognition to our investors as a key partner in the resource harvest. Papua New Guinea also must be advised that our oil and gas at present, we have only proven a little over 20 TCF of gas, for instance. That is nothing compared to, for instance, the Mozambique, 80 TCF of gas in Mozambique that both ExxonMobil and Total has, or the super majors who have over 100 TCF of gas. But that is not to say I want to inform this House under Minister Maladina and in our government. For the first time now, Total, for instance, has an exploration interest in Maliu outside of eastern Papua coastline. This year they'll be spending over $100 million. And they've brought in, if I'm not wrong, Petronas as their major partner in the first time offshore hydrocarbon explorations. I want to also indicate, and that is quite possibly substantial, I want to also indicate exciting prospect in the northeast of Kerema. It's a project called Wildebeest that has anywhere between 3 TCF to 27 TCF. All these resources abound in the stranded fields in Western Gulf, as well as Western Province, the Southern Highlands, Hela Province, and in the southern side of our country remains an exciting prospect, but we need to step up on regulation, step up monitoring, step up on negotiation. This Parliament will be asked, when Minister has matured the new law in as far as resource benefit sharing is concerned, Minister will then ask us to also look into entrenching this law by Parliament. I am tired of negotiating with resource investors. We must regulate and entrench what is PNG's benefit in respect to resource out there. So investors come in, they know exactly what are PNG's benefit in respect to resource harvest. So I want to thank the Minister. This is a first step in the right direction. Department of Petroleum will be redundant. All staff who are qualified, good, will be subsumed into this new authority. This new authority will be regulators with the industry present on board, regulating how we govern the petroleum and hydrocarbon business. And with this, I recommend this bill to the House.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. Those in against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Those in against say no. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Second reading, a bill for an act, A, to provide an administrative framework for the implementation and enforcement of laws and policies governing petroleum activities and matters in Papua New Guinea, and B, to establish the National Petroleum Authority to replace the Department of Petroleum and Energy and for related purposes.
Honourable members, I have to announce that I have received a message from His Excellency, the Governor General, dated 11 March 2025, recommending the expenditure of public money of Papua New Guinea and the raising of revenue in accordance with Section 210 of the Constitution insofar as the bill relate to and provide for such expenditure and raising of revenue. Minister.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, I ask the leave of Parliament to move the third reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? The ayes have it. Go ahead, Minister.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, I move that the bill be read the third time.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favour say aye. Those in against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. In accordance with the Constitution requirement, the bill must be passed by an absolute majority of 60 members clerk please ring the bell? Attendants, please close the door. Attendants, please close the door. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. Would those in favor please stand? For those against, please stand. Honourable members, the result, ayes 84, noes 0. Clerk.
Third reading, a bill for an act to provide an administrative framework for the implementation and enforcement of laws and policies governing petroleum activities and matters in Papua New Guinea, and B, to establish the National Petroleum Authority to replace the Department of Petroleum and Energy and for related purposes.
Clerk.
Notice number 125, Minister for Petroleum.
Minister.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, I present the Oil and Gas Amendment Bill 2025.
Clerk.
First reading, a bill for an act to amend the Oil and Gas Act 1998 and for related purposes.
Minister for Petroleum.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move the second reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the bill now be read the second time.
Make your speech.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, thank you for allowing me to present the Oil and Gas Act Amendment Bill 2025 to the House. This bill is consequential to the National Petroleum Authority Bill, aligning the legislation in meaning and in function. Mr. Assistant Speaker, this consequential amendment bill defines the National Petroleum Authority in the Oil and Gas Act of 1998. Mr. Assistant Speaker, once enacted, the National Petroleum Authority will replace and supersede the Department of Petroleum and Energy as the administrator of the Oil and Gas Act of 1998, which is the primary legislation regulating the petroleum industry and activities in Papua New Guinea. Mr. Assistant Speaker, with that, I now commend this consequential amended bill to the Honourable House.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those in against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those in against say no. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Second reading, a bill for an act to amend the Oil and Gas Act 1998 and for related purposes.
Minister.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, I ask the Leave of Parliament to move third reading forthwith.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Minister.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, I move that the bill be now read the third time.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those in against say no. The ayes have it. Minister. The question is that the bill be now read a third time. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those in against say no. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Third reading, a bill for an act to amend the Oil and Gas Act 1998 and for related purposes.
Minister. The Leader of Government Business.
Acting Speaker, I ask Leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Leader of Government Business.
Acting Speaker, I move that Mr. Charlie Benjamin, Mr. Michael Marum, and Mr. Tobo Yoto be appointed members of the Permanent Parliamentary Committee on Constitutional Laws and Acts and Subordinate Legislations.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Those in against say no. The ayes have it. The Leader of Government Business. Leader of Government Business.
Acting Speaker, I ask Leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Leader of Government Business.
Acting Speaker, I move that so much of the standing orders be suspended as would prevent order of day number 98, government business, being called on forthwith.
The question is that the question be agreed to. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Those in against say no. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Order of the day, number 98. Constitutional Amendment, Motion of No Confidence Law 2024, Minister for Justice and Attorney General, third reading, second record opportunity for debate and second vote.
I present the report of the Permanent Parliament Committee on Constitutional Laws and Act and subordinate legislation relating to the constitutional amendment, the motion of no confidence, Law 2024. The chairman to make a brief statement.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Assistant Speaker. I rise to present the report on the constitutional amendment, motion of no confidence, Law 2024 by the Parliamentary Committee on Constitutional Laws, Acts and Subordinate Legislation. The proposed law was referred to the committee on the 27th November 2024. The committee was required under the Parliamentary Standing Orders 222E-B to examine the proposed law during the period of 2 months and prepare its report for the third reading on the proposed law. On the 5th of March 2025, the committee met with the Department of Justice and Attorney General and the First Legislative Council. The committee acknowledges the contributions from the Secretary, Department of Justice and Attorney General, and the First Legislative Council. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the Parliamentary Committee on Constitutional Laws, Acts and Subordinate Legislation is a permanent committee of the National Parliament appointed by Parliament at the start of this term, 2022 to 2027. The functions of the committee are to have general responsibilities concerning the Constitution, matters not specifically within the functions of other committees, and in particular, responsibility concerning proposed laws to alter the Constitution or organic laws and acts required to be made or required to be made in a prescribed manner by the Constitution. The resolution that established the committee states that the committee shall consider and report to the Parliament on any proposed constitutional law and any constitutional matter referred to it by Parliament before there is any opportunity for debate on the proposed law or matter or as directed by Parliament, and the committee may consider and report to Parliament on any constitutional matter or question as it thinks fit. Mr. Assistant Speaker, at the outset, a vote of no confidence is a practice in Parliament to strengthen the reigning government. On the other hand, a vote of no confidence is the practice in Parliament to remove the reigning government. The former is exercised by the reigning government and its coalition, while the latter is exercised by the opposition or the government in waiting.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, both the vote of no confidence and the vote of no confidence are embedded within the system of parliamentary democracy. It is often held that both the vote of confidence and no confidence are exercised to firstly strengthen the reigning government and secondly to strengthen the relationship between the government and the parliament. While the first reason is obviously clear, the second reason alludes to the fact that the parliament provides the avenue for this to happen. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the proposed law, once passed by Parliament, will be the second amendment to Section 145 of the Constitution. The first amendment was done in 1991, when the grace period of 6 months was extended to 18 months. The current amendment intends to insert a new subsection, a subsection 5, where the motion of no confidence in the Prime Minister is unsuccessful. A subsequent motion of no confidence in the Prime Minister or the Ministry after the unsuccessful motion of no confidence shall not be moved for another period of 18 months, commencing on the date that the motion of no confidence is unsuccessful. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the committee notes that the proposed once passed by Parliament will ensure that there will be no further motion on the vote of no confidence once the first attempt becomes unsuccessful. The current practice has been that there can be attempts on the vote of no confidence after an unsuccessful attempt is taken for the first time. Mr. Assistant Speaker, the committee notes that the underlying reason for this proposed law is to promote political stability in the Prime Minister and his government, his or her government. The practice of moving the vote of no confidence on several unsuccessful attempts has affected the functioning of government, its machineries and services. The committee also notes that the founding fathers, in their wisdom, saw the practices of vote of no confidence to be based on common sense. That is, once an unsuccessful vote of confidence is taken, there will not be further attempts. The committee notes that the law is not clear as to what happens when there is an unsuccessful motion of no confidence after the 18-month period. Therefore, the law must be clearly defined to state whether or not a motion of no confidence may be made in a second attempt where the first attempt has been unsuccessful after 18 months of the election of the Prime Minister. The committee therefore recommends that the proposed law be passed. Thank you.
Minister for Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, in accordance with Standing Order 22F, I move that the proposed law be now read a third time and commence the second required opportunity for debate.
The question is that the question be put. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those in against say no. I serve it. Honourable members, as this is the second vote, the Constitution requires that the vote must be recorded and that in order for the proposal law to pass, it must also be supported by a two-thirds absolute majority of 79 members. Honourable members, the Parliament will now vote. Clerk, please ring the bell. Attendants, please close the door. The question is that the proposed law without amendment be now agreed to. Those in favor, please stand. Those against, stand. members, the ayes 81, noes 4. Clerk.
Third reading, a proposed law to alter the Constitution and for related purposes.
The Leader of Government Business.
Acting Speaker, I ask leave of Parliament to move a motion without notice.
Is leave granted? Leave granted. Leader of Government Business.
Acting Speaker, I move that so much of the standing orders be suspended as would prevent Order of the Day 70 government business being called on forthwith.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Those here against say no. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Order of the day number 70, Constitutional Amendment, Declaration of Papua New Guinea as Christian Country, Lot 2023, Minister for Justice and Attorney General, third reading, second vote from 5th of September 2024.
Honorable Governor, what is your point of order?
The last time the Speaker made a ruling that because of standing orders and due to the failure of the last vote of no confidence, another one could not be moved for 12 months. Now, this bill failed in the last reading and 12 months has not lapsed. Therefore, the rules that the Speaker made in the last sitting in relation to the vote of no confidence also applies to this particular bill. You have to wait 12 months. That was the ruling. Thank you.
Honorable Governor, the vote was rescinded. Eximino got number.
The reasoning was that because Vonkemi failed. No, you clarim pastor. You made the rules on this floor. You cannot make one rule and then when it suits you, you change the rule. It's in, you used, I think 165 of the standing orders. You used it for the vote. You did use it. Bobek na check him hands up, mi plus sidan loya na you platokosan. You cannot bring it because of that particular standing orders. You used it. Now, no convenience, you play like Senisim rule can. The same rules that applied then, because you talk, you cannot move it again for 12 months. Now, Speaker, I've been disallowing. Clerk, please, you advise me. Yes, head blue, because that was the advice you gave.
Honorable Governor, the vote was rescinded. So we will vote down. Honorable members, as this is the second vote, the Constitution requires that the vote must be recorded and that in the order for the proposed law to pass. It must also be supported by a two-thirds absolute majority of 79 members. Honorable members, the Parliament will now vote. Clerk, please ring the bell. Attendants, please close the door. The question is that the proposed law without amendment be now agreed to. Those in favor, please stand. Those against, please stand. Honorable members, the ayes 80, noes 4. Clerk.
Third reading, a proposed law to amend the Constitution to declare Papua New Guinea as a Christian country and other related purposes.
Mr. Assistant Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the members of Parliament for two important legislations we've just passed. One of which is the vote of no confidence, which causes instability for the country. In investments, people are still waiting, giving excuses that they will not hesitate to invest. But this legislation that we've just passed gives confidence. Thank you for the members. Thank you for the Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, ministers. Thank you for the support that you have given so that this legislation can save this country and cause stability for the country. Thank you. Secondly, I would like also to thank the members of Parliament and the Assistant Speaker to you are Christian. You made it, Parliament made it its business to establish Papua New Guinea as a Christian country. Christianity came to this country. That's why stability is established. It's now that Parliament has spoken that one of the important religions for this country is Christianity. May God bless Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
The Leader of Government Business.
Acting Speaker, I move that Parliament do now adjourn until tomorrow at 10 a.m.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those in against say no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, I adjourn the Parliament to tomorrow 10 a.m.